Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for convening this very important meeting. The Inspector General Act established IGs in our agencies to provide leadership to promote economy, efficiency, and effectiveness in administration of your programs. The faithful execution of this duty requires political independence so that IGs and their staffs can properly prioritize and ferret out waste, fraud, and abuse wherever it may occur. That's why I was so gratified to see Inspector General Roth respond swiftly to my request for a comprehensive investigation into the federal government's chaotic implementation of President Trump's immigration executive order, more commonly known as the Muslim ban. An EO that the courts are now examining closely because it may not honor the protections the Constitution guarantees. Mr. Roth, after this hearing, would you provide my staff with an update on how the investigation is going?
We can give you an update as to sort of the general parameters of what it is that we're looking at and our proposed timelines or estimated timelines. The specifics of the actual investigation, because it's an investigation, we never want to sort of preview what it is until it's finally over. But we're happy to give you what information we can.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This question is for the entire panel. The administration is reportedly seeking to find cost savings by slashing program offices that politically or philosophically does not fit in their worldview of short-term political agenda. At Commerce, the administration is looking to eliminate the Minority Business Development Agency, the Economic Development Administration, the International Trade Administration, and the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. At NASA, there are even reports that President Trump would entirely eliminate all climate research. At Transportation, they may be looking at phasing out the Federal Transit Administration, slashing federal surface transportation spending, and eliminating operating subsidies to Amtrak and funding for Tiger. Look, instead of draconian, politically driven cuts, I know that your work as IGs has led to the correction of wasteful practices and the elimination of inefficiencies. Could each of you quantify or describe the savings and efficiencies that your oversight has resulted in within your own agencies? Just some examples.
Sure. Thank you, Senator. Our office in the last fiscal year, our return on investment, if you will, was 54 to 1, which means that we were able to identify fines, restitutions, or recoveries on the criminal side. And on the administrative side, we were able to find recommendations for funds to be put to better use or question costs that together amounted to $54 for every appropriated dollar that came to the OIG. And that's just, of course, within the Department of Transportation. Within the Federal Highway Administration, one of our key findings and recommendations had to do with a $4.4 billion total package having to do with how that operating administration in DOT administers part of its grant program called preliminary engineering, and how essentially money was being left on the table in the various states. So that's a significant example, a key one. Another one would have to do with delinquent debt. We did a study last year that determined that DOT's delinquent debt, which comprises on the administrative side things like civil penalties, payroll overpayments. On the other side, it had to do with other grants and loans that may have been offered by the department to states and localities. Altogether, that amounted to almost $500 million in terms of delinquent debt that the department was not properly following up on and making efforts to collect. So those are a couple of examples. And we would, again, marry that up with what our return of investment has been for the OIG, the taxpayer, and the department.
$54 every dollar spent. That sounds like a good deal for the American taxpayer.
Thanks.
Thank you for the hard work that you do. How's the hiring freeze affecting your ability to carry out your duties?
Right now, we're feeling a squeeze, but not too much. Thankfully, however, as time goes on, it certainly will. Even beyond the hiring freeze, which right now, as you know, has been labeled as temporary, we're most concerned about the longer range budget problem. 75% of my budget goes to payroll and salary and expenses for our people. We have no hardware, we have no programs, we have no grants. What we are able to produce for you and for the Secretary, in keeping with my statutory mission to keep you fully and currently informed, is criminal investigations, and audit reports. That's produced by our people. And when we suffer budget cuts, that means fewer people. Inevitably, it means fewer audit reports and criminal investigations, which will impinge on your ability to stay fully and currently informed. We've got, sadly, very recent experience in terms of sequestration with all of this. In my office, we imposed a hiring freeze that lasted about 18 months to get us through that without any furloughs or RIFs of our existing staff. We were successful in doing that, but it did mean that we had to put the squeeze on the audit reports that we were able to generate in response to requests and our own self-initiated work. So it's a prospect that I don't look forward to. Of course, we'll do what we have to, and I promise this committee and others, we will do all we can with what we've got. But beyond that, it's a physical impossibility.
Thank
So
you.
thanks for your interest, though.
Thank you. I'm out of time. I would ask the other panelists to submit your questions, the answers for the record, but it sounds like you're a good deal for the American taxpayer. Thank you.